Saturday at noon.
Watched you guys a couple years ago. And,
Saturday at noon. That's when we kick off.
I went and watched Coach Harris when he was at Van Horn.
Mm-hmm.
A couple.
He's going to be great at Ray South. That was a money hire by Ray South.
Absolutely,
nailed that.
And then when their basketball coach left, they made another money hire and got the guy from Grandview.
Yeah.
Coach Morris
from Grandview, who's won state titles there.
Yeah.
Absolutely, they nailed it.
So they nailed those two hires.
Absolutely. And then Rashad Bird goes from being OC over at Van Horn to be the head coach. Congratulations, Rashad Bird.
Yeah, he's going to be on the show here in a couple weeks.
That's fantastic. Yeah. He's another quality guy. William Harris, fantastic individual. Leon Douglas. Just being around this coaching fraternity and see what we're doing here in Kansas City is absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome here. And we just enjoy it. And I think that the more go out and see a high school football game. Okay?
Yes.
Go out and just watch a high school football game and see what these kids are doing. These kids are tremendous now. Yeah. With 7-on-7 and the new training and the way everybody is so much more athletic, you were like, oh my gosh. Now, of course, I'm old, right? So, the way we played ball in the late 80s is definitely different than the way they play the ball now.
Yeah. I mean, I keep joking with people. We open with Shawnee Mission North and then Shawnee Mission West, which Shawnee Mission North is flex bone, triple option, and then Shawnee Mission West, I keep joking, they run an offense from 1992. Two backs, tight end, and they're going to run the football at you.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, they're good at it. It's not a knock. It's just when people say, everybody's spreading it out now, right?
Right.
Not Shawnee Mission West. I mean, they're a freaking two-back tight end. They do go out of the gun sometimes, so they got kind of the pistol guy and then the sidecar. But, and people are like, oh, you making fun of them? No, it's just, it's when you saw that offense, Lake the South, they still run that, they're on our schedule.
Yeah.
They run, a lot of that dive.
Just think about this. When we talk about how the way offenses have changed, what is the Big 12 going to look like? Okay. We're going to go around that for
I was going to say, are we transitioning?
Yeah. We're talking no. I just wanted to ask this question because we're talking about how, they still have that 1992 offense. K-State with two tight ends and two backs. They're going to freak a lot of people out in the Big 12.
Yeah.
There's going to be some issues. Like 22 personnel, that's a real thing? You can do that? Hold on. We only play with 5 linemen. Why do you have 2 tight ends attached to your 2 linemen, and why do you have a fullback? That's an illegal formation in the Big 12. Because we don't know how to line up against that.
Potentially K-State's the only team with a fullback right now in the Big 12.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's fantastic.
People are like, what? A lot of people out there that are watching right now are like, what's a fullback? They just asked that
have
question.
No idea.
There's only, it's a couple years ago. Or last year or 2 years ago. There's only 2 teams in the NFL that have a fullback on their team. Kansas City. No, it's 3. Sorry. Baltimore, KC, and San Francisco.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
I mean, people don't
know. You got 3 jobs in the NFL for fullbacks.
Yeah.
Right? That's tough. And our fullback's gone. Sherm's gone. So, and when you have these transitions, there's a group that I'm a part of. It's called Coaches Ministry, and we're doing it's a Bible study for coaches by coaches. And the guy that I work with, Milton Cooper, he's in charge of the inner city ministries. So I was his first one to start. But I'm talking to this man. We're in Dallas, and we're talking, and he's been in Oklahoma. He's 70-something years old. Sorry, Milton. But he was telling me about his first state championship was Bone Veer. Okay?
Oh, man.
His last state championship was Air Raid.
So he's been in every step of the way.
So, I was like, how crazy is that to see the evolution? And he goes, it's still just option football. Okay, you're a Hall of Famer. Yes, sir.
Right, yeah. All right.
But, he was like, to see that evolution, because I couldn't imagine coaching where when I first started playing, we had a split end or flanker, and they were in a 3-point stance, and we never threw them the ball. Dude, just out there to block. That's what you did. And to coach there, then all of a sudden, by the end of your career, you're 5 wide, 4 wide guy all the time, just pitching it all the time, just and you're like, He's like, yeah, we had 2 run plays. We had power and inside zone. You're like, and you were a split back veer guy. Like just the evolution to see how much the high school game has changed. It's dramatic. When you go to these high school stadiums now, please go watch high school football.
Yes.
When you go to these high school stadiums now, when you see the video boards, right? You got schools with like video boards that are like the highlights and the stuff's on there, and you're like, man, how cool is that for these kids?
Yeah.
Not only for those kids, but the kids that are in the stand, the band members, the flag corps, the drill team, because they're all in that environment and they're making something happen. And you got you got your rabid fan base. We all know those guys and girls that were in high school that we went to high school with. They were like the cheer. Not a cheerleader, but a cheerleader in the stands.
Yeah.
They're the one with the flag or the face paint, or there was always a guy that you knew that was running up and down the stands with the flag, with the team and all that. Like, that's what this is all about.
Yes.
For these kids, and it's so cool that we're going to have that back this year.
I know.
We're going to have people at games. Like, at one point in an All-Star game, I was just leaning out the window looking like, there's a lot of people here.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. It's good to have that.
It's definitely going to be a breath of fresh air. And, yes, go watch high school football. I mean, no matter what part of Kansas City you live in, there is a high school somewhere near you. Okay? Go out on a Friday night.
It's $5.
7 o'clock.
It's $5.
Pay the $5 and check them out. I mean, these high school kids, and I don't care what school they're at or what their record is, they're out there working hard every day. Like, just because they love football or because they want to be involved in something.
They want to be involved in something.
And, I mean, especially, in the inner city, I mean, you're making these kids feel like they belong to something that is positive.
Yes.
Because we all know there's another element out there that will make them feel like they belong, but that's a negative element.
Yeah, we deal with that element a lot.
And, I mean, you guys you're on the front lines of that. I mean, every day you got, those kids that I'm sure have every opportunity. When
you talk about being on the front line with those kids, last year we have a fire department. Station 18 is on the it's on the west end of our field, okay? Like, we share a fence, so it's Station 18 in the back of ours. And last year there was a car that pulled up to Station 18 that had 38 bullet holes in it. 1-year-old was dead inside, and they pulled up to the fire station. And I'm tripping out. I'm like, what are we doing? Should we be out here? Like, the crime scene tape is coming on, like the investigation vans are coming. One of our best practices of the year. The kids didn't even notice. They didn't even notice that the car had 38 bullet holes in it. It was on the other side of that fire station. Meanwhile, I'm walking all over the place trying to look around like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But to them, it's just another day.
Yeah.
And that's part of what these kids face each and every day. The obstacles that they are willing to overcome. They have the mental toughness. We just have to direct it into a more positive form than what they know. We talk about winning. When I talk about winning, I've had a little bit of an evolution in the last couple of years, Gary and Austin. I've decided that winning doesn't mean rings anymore. Winning for these kids is going to a college or going to a trade school, providing for your family, not having to worry about the lights being turned off, gas being turned off, water being turned off, not knowing where you're going to get a meal, right? We want them to win in a different way in their houses now. And we really stress that at Central's. Winning is different for us. No, let's not get it twisted. I would take another state championship.
Right. Yeah.
Okay? Like, that's I would love to win a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That'd be fantastic. But what I got to make sure these kids know is that you may not be ready to go to an academic university, but we have a program at Manual Tech that you can get into automotive, you can get into construction, you can get into HVAC, and you can get union, and you can be out in, when you graduate and be in the union and have a trade.
Yeah.
Like, we're always going to need heat and air.
Yep.
Like, I don't know when that's ever going to change. Your AC is important.
Yes.
We're in Kansas City. The AC is important.
No joke.
Heater is important.
And
we're
they
in
might
Kansas
be
City.
back-to-back days important because we're in Kansas
City, right? We could be 107 one day and be 38 the next.
Yeah.
Like that's a real thing.
For real.
But that's why we try to push that so these kids can understand what winning is being there for your family each and every day and going to work each and every day. Well, that's a concept for them that we have to really stress is being present each and every day so you can move that needle, so you can get out of generational poverty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a kid who is he's basically on he's like an independent, like he's on his own, right? So he's like, Coach, come here. I was like, what's up, man? He was like, see this? I said, what's that? He goes, got my food stamps today. I got $1,000 food stamps. And you're like, okay, well, let's talk about how we're going to spend this.
Yeah.
You know, like we're a food desert down in the inner city. There's one grocery store. It's Sunfresh. Most of these kids buy their groceries from a corner store. So to take it, you're like, hey, like we're going to go and do this. We're going to go to a grocery store and show you how to buy healthy food. Right? Something that's not always in a wrapper. We did a media day with the law firm and Preps KC, D. Pasquale and Moore and Preps KC. We did a media day for the inner city schools. And we were sitting there, and I had my man Google sitting next to me, and I was like, all right, first of all, unroll the napkin. Put the napkin on your lap. The small fork, it's for your salad. Okay? Mm-hmm. So you put that over here. The regular fork is here, and this is how we're going to cut meat. Turn the fork over, we slide the knife down the back, and showed him that. Because he's a high school senior, and he's never eaten at a place where there's rolled napkins with silverware in it. Watching him struggle to open that, you were like, just pull it, my man.
Yeah.
But he had never been in a place like that. Glasses, dishes, to show him that. Like, that's amazing. That's a win for me now. Is to put a kid in an environment where he can do something that's so unique to him. Like to sit there and put the napkin on your lap. Like we take that as just commonplace.
Yeah.
Because we go to those places. We eat there. Right? We were doing the All-Star game. Our kids were coming up from Central, and they were like, can we go to watch practice? Sure. And they were like, but we're going all the way to the Northland. And you're like, it's really not that far from here.
No.
Right? It's really not that far. So they found out it's 8 minutes from this guy Xavier's house who has a car. Okay, so Xavier drive the guys up there. He's like, Coach, it's only 8 minutes away. I said, yes, I know. Like, it's not.
You drive from the Northland, I mean, every day.
But to them, it's the Northland. Oh, my God. And then we introduced them to Tay's Burgers. It's a wrap now. These kids go down to Tay's Burgers on Armour like they own the place now. Like they just roll up, they get on the interstate, and they get off on Armour, and they go over there and they get to the Tay's Burgers, and they're so excited about it because they've expanded their world. That's a win for me.
And
those kids recognize there's someplace different that is so what they think is so far away is 8 minutes.
And those are the things, like those are the stories that I love to hear about you and what you're doing at Central with these kids. Like, I mean, like you said, you opened a whole nother world. Like, they don't realize there's a lot of great stuff in Kansas City.
Absolutely.
And they're literally right in the center
of it. Yes,
so, I mean,
absolutely.
they're probably 8 minutes away from a lot of cool stuff.
When we were taking Walter to go throw with Coach Hoover over at, I think it was like Indian Hills
Middle School?
Indian Hills Middle School. I pick up my guy, Walter, and whoever's going to go with him that day. And we drive down 63rd. So we're at 63rd in Cleveland. And we just take 63rd all the way over to Indian Hills in Mission, Kansas. And then when we drive through the country club area, the look on these kids' faces are like, I said, yeah, we're 5 minutes from your house right now, and these are $1 million homes. We've gone through Brookside. Them seeing Brookside was like, oh. Yeah. And you're like, watch this. Now we're going to continue on 63rd into Mission, and these kids' minds are just absolutely just blown away then we take them out to eat afterwards, and they were like, "Coach, there's no like